Yeah, boy. Check. Mic check. 1, 2. Yeah. It's a little loud.
Check. 1, 2. Check.
Hey, everybody, can you tell which one of us has had more caffeine today? It's your boy. Check. 1, 2. Caffeine check. If I finish this can that I'm working on of Alani, I'll be 500 milligrams in for the day already.
That's only a hundy?
That's only a little hundy.
Where'd you find those?
Sam's Club.
Really? Mm-hmm. How many come in a pack? Enough?
Same amount as the normal pack. 18, I think.
So only 18? Are they a little cheaper? Or?
Yeah, okay. It's cheaper. Maybe there's more of them. I don't remember. I don't know. I just saw it.
And 24 rack of...
And Brooke wanted these flavors that were in this one, because this one has the Juicy Peach, Dream Float, and the Cherry Slush in it.
Okay.
So they're all flavors that we like.
Gotcha.
Episode 31.
Dadgum.
Yes, sir.
Who would have thought we would be doing something this consistently this long? Not me.
Not me. Not us. That's Fushu.
We were talking, and I was like, you know what? I haven't had any of my own good shower thoughts recently. Mostly because it's been too hot to think.
Gosh.
So,
tell me about it, dude.
Well, I got absolutely fried 3-4 weeks ago. Went swimming in my uncle's pool. I put on one layer of sunscreen. Mm-hmm. Didn't put on another one.
Yeah.
I was about the color of your shirt.
Nice.
Like, just on my shoulders. Shoulders and neck, nowhere else.
For everybody out there, I'm wearing a shirt that used to be red, but it's kind of like a faded, like red to pink now.
Yeah, a nice salmon color. But I was like, it was bad. So I started taking cold showers, and honestly, like
cold showers are nice in the summertime.
But here's the thing: I think since then I've only taken 2 hot showers,
right?
And that was because, we're getting older, and I told you this morning, like, I slept on my shoulder wrong, like, at the beginning of the week, and I'm still, like, I woke up this morning, I was like, I cannot move. Nowhere is comfortable. So I was like, you know what? I wonder what AI's shower thoughts are. So I was like, hey, give me some philosophical, deep shower thoughts. So the one that I was reading, and I don't like this one, but we're going to talk about it. What if we're not meant to be happy all the time? Maybe the goal is to just feel everything.
That's a solid thought. I'm a big proponent for that. That's one of the things that, because of my job and stuff, right, and having to teach the Bible, that's like a concept that I came across several years ago that I've tried to teach a lot on, is that idea of, our society tells you that you're supposed to be focused on being happy.
Right.
Do what makes you happy, find happiness in the little things, all that kind of stuff. And on the flip side of that, I say, I don't think that isn't the point. We're not supposed to be happy. At least as Christ followers, the call is to be joyful. Right.
And happiness and joy are two completely different emotions.
Totally different. Yeah. It's probably helpful for people to kind of hear that. So for our listeners out there, we're getting real deep.
Real
early on.
Real deep, quick.
In this thing. But you should do some introspection on that and think about...
And I think if you go around happy all the time, every day, every minute, you can't appreciate when things are tough.
Yeah.
And then they get better.
Right.
You don't have that contrast of, this kind of sucks, and then you're like, oh no, this is actually pretty good. But also being able to, and I think that kind of goes back into ultimately seeking joy over happiness.
Yeah.
And that's where you can see, you know what, I know I'm going through this right now, but I can know this is going to make me a better person on the other side of it, or I'm going to try to find the joy while I'm in this spot.
Yeah.
And I think if you kind of reshift your thinking that way, it helps you get through a lot of things a lot quicker than you normally would.
I totally agree. And I think there's a cool thing too about the aspect of just being real with the people around you.
Oh, yeah.
Every day. So it's don't, we try to put on the happy face all too often. People do it in church especially, right? Because it's no one wants to show their hurt and their pain, and,
right,
and be the Debbie Downer in a sense. And I say show it. Show your emotions, be who you are. When somebody asks you hey, how are you doing today? Don't lie and just always say, well, I'm good and I'm okay, and just move on with life. Be honest and say, well, it's actually been a really crappy day today.
Right.
And let people kind of see behind the curtain, because if we're always putting up that wall of happiness,
right,
you're putting up a facade. You're putting up a fake, because you're not always happy. I'm not always happy.
And that's the thing too. And then it becomes extremely noticeable when you're putting on these masking is a real thing.
Oh, for sure.
And I do it it's exhausting too.
Yeah.
And when you reach that point of exhaustion, everything that you've been going through up to that point shows through, and
it comes out. Yeah,
and
exactly.
Everybody's like, that's when people are like, "Oh my gosh, you look like crap," or
right.
it's like, no, I just.
Why do you look like you got run over by a Mack truck?
I didn't have the energy to mask today. That's why I look like this.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it also goes to show you the people that actually know and care about you, they can see through that mask even though you think that they can't. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm doing fine. No.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Well, that's one of the things is like, not to sound like prideful in a sense, but I kind of pride myself in my ability to read people.
Oh yeah.
I've always been a really good judge of character and stuff like that. I think for me, like when people just tell me like, yeah, things are good, I can always tell like if they're telling the truth or not. And I'm like, I would rather you just straight up say it to me. Like, no, like things are crap right now. And then I can at least go, okay, so maybe there's something I can do to help you. Maybe there's a way that I can pray for you.
Right.
Maybe there's somebody I can talk to for you that could help your situation out and stuff. But if you don't ever drop that facade of like, oh yeah, everything's good and I'm always happy, then you can't get the help that you need from people. And that's a key thing of why we do life together. That's why we're around people. Is
right.
Like, yeah,
exactly.
We need to exist in the same space. That's a good question, man. Man, it's like I didn't expect us to go deep right off the bat. So
yeah, that was the one when we were kind of waiting to record. I saw that and I was like,
Josh read it and I saw his face. He's just like, oh boy, that is a deep one. So along those same lines, to keep things like really super serious, I have a would you rather question.
Oh, absolutely. Let's do it.
My would you rather question for today is: would you rather have hiccups for life or have to loudly caw like a crow every time you hear your own name?
Okay, so wow. I guess I have a question.
Okay.
Is me hearing my own name directed towards me? So, like, you and I have it's
you hear your name. Yeah, because we have a common name. Like, the Josh
like, at church, it's funny because, we know who people are talking to, and the other one will answer all the time.
Yeah, so it's great. You guys have heard us talk about our sister podcast, The Holy Chit Chat, on here before.
Uh-huh.
And Tori, who is the other half of that with my wife, Brooke, Tori has a son named Josh. And when we're at church, if the three of us are in the same room and Tori comes in and she's like, Josh, both of us reply, we're like, what? So yeah, we definitely wear that joke out on a regular basis.
Man,
but
we'd be calling a lot,
so much.
Man, I don't know, like, because hiccups can be very inconvenient at times. Like, especially if you're like trying to like articulate a point. I think about us doing this every other week.
Yeah.
Could you imagine
trying to record a podcast every Tuesday?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you're thinking about that. I mean, you think about like any moment that you're trying to be serious at all. And
we could never be around each other then in a serious situation.
Never ever. Too much laughter in that.
We just laughing and hiccuping at the same time.
Yeah. That would be hilarious.
I mean, we're bad enough together. And,
think about it at the same time. If both of us had the curse of having to call every time we heard our name, and we would just do
it. So does it count when you say your own name?
I don't know.
Oh, could you imagine if you were somebody who talked in third person?
Every time you introduce yourself to somebody, you're like, "Hi, my name's Josh." Caw!
Okay, I kind of want to do that one.
I think it actually would be good. That was the one that, like, when I was thinking this through, I was like, "Oh, I want the call," because I do it like half the time, anyways. That became the thing with our friend group. We went on a trip at one point in time, and there were so many of us that I just told everybody ahead of time. I was like, okay, so if you hear somebody caw like that, but I do like the caw, like real loud, and I told him, I'm like, if you hear somebody do that, that's me calling for our group, turn and look in the direction of where it was, because I'm trying to get somebody's attention and stuff. And, and it worked really well. Like, people like genuinely will stop and look, and so I think that it'd be hilarious, like the two of us, as much as we hang out together and stuff.
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah. Because we would start doing it just to each other.
Gosh. And every time we tell somebody the name of our podcast, we're like, yeah, good morning, Josh. Oh, gosh. I'd have too much fun with it.
Oh, for sure. So speaking of caw, let's go ahead and kick this thing off.
All right. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Josh.
Recognize me? No? Well, I'm Josh.
I got suspended from school because of Josh.
You're going to be there with me in every way imaginable, Josh.
Josh is truly in a trance, yes.
I went to high school with Josh, and I can tell you right now, he's a terrific kisser.
Hi, I'm Josh.
Josh, these are people's jobs we're talking about, Josh. Thank you very much. Hi.
Josh walking in the door wasn't even close.
Josh, you are a muffin-snuggling pirate puncher.
Josh is a good guy. We can talk to him.
Please welcome Joshua.
Josh, what do you know about the Ozarks?
About the Ozarks?
Yeah.
I know that there was a TV show called Ozark at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the Ozarks are, maybe I know this, that they're a mountain range. Is that correct?
Yes. I mean, okay, so the Ozarks themselves kind of span 5 different states. So it's a region, encompasses Missouri, parts of Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Illinois. So,
okay,
relative proximity. I've seen it down like into Alabama and stuff like that too, like the northern part of Alabama, Mississippi as well too. Kind of, in that region. We find ourselves today going to talk about the Ozark Howler.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard anything about the Ozark
cryptid
Howler
of the month?
Yes,
man.
we're diving into the cryptid of the month.
The Ozark Howler. I've never heard of this one. No.
Okay, the reason why I got this is because you and I have both tried to do more obscure cryptids.
Yeah, we went off the beaten path for.
I mean, because everybody's heard about Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, the Yeti, all that kind of fun. And we will probably kind of do an episode of one of the bigger ones, but I kind of wanted to get a lot of the lesser known ones out of the way.
For sure.
So the reason why I decided to come up with this one is because this one is actually in my cryptid manual that I got from the Frogman Festival.
Oh, yeah.
So it's one of the ones that they kind of did a D&D stat block and everything for. So with the Ozark Howler, deep in the shadowy hills of the Ozark Mountains, a bone-chilling howl pierces the night. Locals say it's the call of something ancient, something massive, something not quite natural. With glowing red eyes.
So just to be clear, this doesn't sound like a woman being stabbed in the back.
No. But honestly, like I was like we're kind of on the same wavelength for these two, and we'll kind of get into it.
Oh, it's like the beast of Bladenburg when we talked about that. Okay.
So it's kind of one of those like blending of, not necessarily blending of folklore, but kind of very similar in regions how these cryptids can be regional.
Sweet.
So glowing red eyes, horns like a demon, stalks the forest unseen until it screams. Is it just a tale told to keep kids from wandering too far at night, or is there something lurking in the Ozarks?
Just a side note, I do think it's hilarious that's probably the origin for so many of these things, is that it's just parents feeling
we've talked about that. Like, there's a lot of these.
The Rougarou was a big one that we talked about.
Rougarou, like breaking Lent, and 13 things would scare away the the Rougarou.
Yeah. You just can't count higher than 13, so he's like...
The Howler obviously isn't Bigfoot, isn't Mothman, isn't Loch Ness Monster.
Right.
It's not going to make it into a lot of top 10 cryptids, things like that. There's not a ton of pop culture things with the Ozark Howlers, which is unfortunate because it is a pretty cool one. So, the beast has haunted the dense woodlands of Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and even parts of Texas for the last 2 centuries. So, this one is kind of going back a little bit further.
Okay. That's a pretty wide span, too, these covering.
Yeah. And it could be like, how like Bigfoot is seen everywhere, like there's more than one kind of thing. So, it could be like a family or... exactly. Gotcha. And I think that leans credence to... multiple sightings of different but similar creatures in different parts of the world. It's like anything. Oh, I never thought that this animal lived here, and it does.
Yeah.
And I know I think we briefly touched on it. One of the theories for the Mothman is like a crane, like a giant, like an actual bird, but it isn't really found in those parts.
It's the variation of the stork that delivers the really bad babies.
There you go.
It's an evil stork that's just dropping off all the little children that are going to be like problem child.
What exactly is the Ozark Howler? I mean, it depends on who you ask, because the descriptions are kind of both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Most descriptions agree it's kind of a massive creature about the size of a bear or a large panther.
Okay.
A decently sized, but even still, a large panther, you have what, roughly the size of a dog? I mean, do panthers?
A large panther would be. I think you're thinking more like.
I'm thinking mountain lion.
Yeah, more in the lines of like mountain lion, maybe a little bit bigger than that with a panther.
Yeah, but still,
it sounds very much like it's kind of in that same ballpark as like the Beast of Bladenburg that we talked about. Like it's a really big cat. That's kind of the idea behind it.
So but there's still a decent size difference between a panther and a bear. So I mean, you still have a little bit of.
Well, depending on what bear you're talking about, but most of the time.
I mean, black bears. I mean, can get kind of big, but
they get. Like, cause I've seen some black bears in the wild down in North Carolina because they're like in the coastal regions. There's some down there. As a matter of fact, some of my family used to hunt them in the Croatan forest and everything. But yeah, so like some of the ones there, I mean, they're not massive by any means, but they're big enough that.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you come face to face with one, you get worried.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're not gonna 1v1 the bear.
No.
I mean, I may be stupid, but I ain't that stupid. I may be white, but I ain't that white.
I'm real dumb, but there's gonna have to be a lot of money on the line before I try to wrestle a bear.
So, large bear or a bear or a large panther, it's covered in thick, shaggy, black or dark gray fur. Now my mind is shifting more like wolf type thing, away from the feline. But more to like a dog.
Kind of makes you think about those, like the Newfoundland wolfhounds
like a Newfoundland,
or whatever.
Like
it
a
is.
Newfoundland, yeah.
Kind of got that shaggy, darker colored hair. So,
yep.
Okay.
Some say it has a long tail like a big cat with a muscled body of something different.
Okay.
So this is where kind of the embellishment, the cryptid.
Right. We moved from the normal, like natural world into something's different.
Then this is where we're completely shifting into the glowing red or orange eyes that it's said to have.
Yeah.
And horns.
Naturally.
Yeah. And horns. So not exactly something you would see on a bobcat or a panther or a mountain lion. Some
horns make it unique. That's definitely like an out of the norm kind of thing.
Some locals call it the devil cat. Others just call it the howler. I mean, all cats are the devil, but anyway, that's beside the point.
Get on out of here, kitty cat. Sorry, my mind went to a guy on a buffalo.
And then the sound, because people refer to it as the howler. The sound it makes is this deep guttural scream, kind of like a cross between a wolf's howl and a human scream. So it does have that vocalization.
I like that.
Very similar to the Beast of Bladenburg.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Ozarks and you hear something that makes your hair stand on end, it could be watching.
Nice.
So now we're gonna get into.
So hang on a second. Let me just pull up my list of places never to visit and put Ozarks in there. All right, cool. Not going there.
So the legend of the Ozark Howlers goes back, like I was saying, to the early 1800s when settlers first started moving into the region. Back then, as everything was when this country was new, your forests are a lot more dense, remote, wild. Stories started to circulate about livestock vanishing without a trace. You're introducing newer food sources, things like that. So creatures are naturally going to be more curious,
right?
Because they have a steady supply of food closed in a specific area.
Well, it's the same thing that we talked about when we talked about the emu war. Is that the reason why the emus started becoming an issue is because they introduced
crops.
Yeah, their crops, their food into new places where they'd never been before, and so now the emus are like really interested in being in those spots, and so. Same thing happens with predators. You put a lot of meat in one spot, and you're like, here comes the killers.
So livestock vanishing without a trace, strange prints left in the mud, and then this howling that was going on in the woods. Now, could you attribute that to settlers who had been living, in cities, to hearing sounds that you don't normally hear? Like when you go camping, every little like twig break kind of makes you jump. If you've never been in those situations,
I would wonder how many people are heading out west at that point in time that actually had lived in a city for a long period of time, though. Because I mean, it's to be a settler, to be someone who was kind of pioneering the way out into that new area of the United States. You couldn't be soft,
No, you couldn't.
There was a certain type of person that had to survive out there, and so it makes me curious to know like what kind of experience had these people had previously to kind of go off of in a sense. But at the same time, I've been there before, like because I've been out camping in regions of the South that are not where I'm from, right? Like so, I'm from Eastern North Carolina. There's a set number of noises we hear in the woods in Eastern North Carolina that will make your hair stand on end if you don't know what it is type of thing.
Uh-huh.
But they're pretty limited, and they're pretty identifiable. But then I've been to some other places in the South and gone camping or slept in cabins that had, open windows and stuff at nighttime.
Uh-huh.
And heard some sounds. That's...
It's that esoteric, like your brain wants to fill it in the blanks with what's familiar, but when you don't have anything to reference.
When you have no context for it, that's that moment where you kind of like slide out of your sleeping bag and just slowly let the window back down until it latches, and then you're like, click. Okay, good. Just going to go back to bed. And then you kind of just like
curl into your sleeping bag and kind of...
Just pocket knife on the chest, where I can get to it. Yeah, it's like, just gonna make sure I'm a little bit more prepared for whatever the heck that noise was.
So one thing, aside from, I think it was the Guatemalan space dwarves?
It wasn't Guatemala. Venezuelan.
Yeah, okay. I knew it was in that region. Yeah. We've not really had tangible sightings on some of these cryptids that we've done. I think that was the only one that we've actually had.
The beast of Bladenboro. It was really that woman and her husband that she the beast was coming at her.
Right.
She screamed and it ran away. So she was like the only one with like a true accurate sighting supposedly of this large cat in Bladenboro. But we had a couple of guys like the reports. The reports of the ones in Venezuela were wild
to say the least.
But there's like supposedly we know of at least 5 confirmed sightings of these little guys.
But like the squonk, the rougarou, we don't really have many.
Yeah, the
tangible
frogman.
The 2 people from the frogman, or
the
3.
Yeah, because you got the first guy, the businessman, and then the 2 cops.
So what would you do if I told you? Have you ever heard of a man by the name of Daniel Boone?
Yeah, I know all about Daniel Boone.
Did you know that...
Have you ever seen the movie of Daniel Boone from back in the day?
That there is a tale that he actually encountered and killed a howler?
No. Is it really?
Yeah. So in the early 1800s, while exploring what is now Missouri, and then at that time, part of the western frontier, the creature was described that he had killed, and this was later in his life. It was a large and cat-like, not quite like a cougar or a panther, had glowing red eyes, horns, according to some versions of this tale, and it emitted a terrifying scream or howl, unlike any known animal at that time.
Interesting.
He allegedly shot the beast, and in some versions he even kept the body and made a sketch of it in his journals, though no such records are around today.
Yeah.
And the journals that do exist make no mention of this creature. So it kind of is it fueling the aura, the legend of Daniel Boone, or is it actual truth? So, like I said, no official records or letters written by Boone verify the story. He did live, however, in Missouri in his later years, and particularly the St. Charles area in the early 1800s. So the timelines, it lines up.
Yeah, right.
That it is possible. And the earliest versions of Boone versus the Ozark Howler story didn't appear, though, until the 20th century. So it kind of limits the...
Yeah. So,
but...
Because Daniel Boone died in 1820. I'm like looking at some of the stuff on
this
him right now.
This was towards the end of his life. Because I was listening to like a few different podcasts about the Ozark Howler, just because there's not a ton of information,
right? Yeah.
And I was listening to like different cryptid podcasts and stuff about the Howler.
Now, is the Howler supposedly, does it attack human beings or anything along those lines, or is it just kind of like this? It's a predator that's out in the wild and people hear it, and that's kind of like where like the lore behind it comes from.
Yeah, and again, like with the missing cattle, things like that. Sure.
So it's killing things, but not humans necessarily.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no, and I'm pretty sure there's no, and I think I have some of it in the other part of the outline, but it's...
I was just thinking through like the Daniel Boone thing, and I'm like, because like I said, I had a lot of exposure to Daniel Boone through like some movies and TV shows when I was younger, like kind of almost like old Western style type of deals where they reenacted some things from his life. But I know that he was kind of like, he had a lot of really cool exploits of things that he did in his life, but it also kind of then spanned into him becoming, like Paul Bunyan and some of those guys, where it's like the lore about him became more and more grandiose over time.
And that's the thing about legends of those times. it was all oral history.
Yeah.
And you know, you kind of put a little bit of more flavor, a little bit more
Right.
flavor. Everybody puts their own spin on things.
It's like at some point in time, Daniel Boone shoots a bobcat while he's out on the side of a mountain.
Right.
And then
It turns
100
into,
years later, it's Daniel Boone like wrestled the Howler.
Yeah.
And killed it with his knife, you know, or something like that. So
something crazy.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that it says is it something that was just taken out of proportion that he did, because he was known, he was an accomplished hunter, frontiersman, outdoorsman,
soldier, the whole 9 yards. Yeah,
you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he hunted and killed something.
No, but
you know, the chances that it is this Ozark Howler are probably slim to none.
Right.
But you know, it's one of those cool things where I was like, that's a weird caveat.
Yeah, that's a cool tie-in, though. I love it. Especially considering that, you know, why would, if you've got these two things that are happening at the same time,
right.
where you've got the Howler that's becoming this, you know, this cryptid legend, and you've got Daniel Boone, who, you know, is a legend in his own right, it kind of makes sense. You know, it's like the same things as like any other time you've got two contrasting big stories happening at the same time.
Yeah.
People love the idea of like, how do we bring these together and make them exist in the same world?
For sure. We'll continue with the sighting. So, in the 20th and 21st centuries, reports had popped up sporadically across Arkansas and Missouri primarily. In a place called the Devil's Den State Park, hikers have reported seeing something watching them from the trees, huge, low to the ground, and completely silent.
Is the Devil's Den in Arkansas?
I believe so.
That makes so much sense. Sorry for anybody from Arkansas who's listening. We know you're out there.
Again, that could be contributed to any kind of wild feline. I mean, because bears don't really stalk, but that seems like a feline stalking behavior.
Right.
Or even some wolf or...
Yeah. I was going to say that there are some species of canine that'll do that, but yeah, usually cats are the ones that'll...
And they're more solitary and things like that.
Yep.
So, I mean, if it was, you know, obviously canines hunt in packs, felines are more solitary. So it could be one of those. In the Mark Twain National Forest, which I believe is in Missouri, campers have awoken to strange screams that seem to move in circles around their tents.
Okay.
So
we love that.
Yeah. I mean, anything that I hear a sound here in front of me, and then a little bit later I hear it to the left, and then to the back and to the other side. Like that's, you know, we joke because, you know, we've loved to kind of dog the new Jurassic Park movie.
Oh yeah.
And
hot
like
garbage.
You know, it makes me that makes me think of the raptors from the second one, where you're just running in overgrown grass, and you just see these lines and tails kind of encircling you, and you have no idea.
You hear the occasional like, like the little noises.
Yeah,
they
the
make
little
vocalizations. Yeah, so they're like,
and it's just
I'm
good.
Can you imagine how terrifying that'd be?
Oh my god, no.
If you're in a tent, which is literally the worst form of defense that you have,
absolutely nothing,
and you start hearing these howls coming from all these different directions.
So those are some of the modern. In the early 2000s, a string of reports from Missouri made headlines online. Eyewitnesses claimed to see a creature dart across the road late at night, and its eyes glowing in the headlights. It's one of those things where, you know, we're not cryptozoologists or anything,
right?
But you can attribute a lot of this to the natural glowing in the eyes of any any animal that is outside, because they all have that layer of things in their eyes that help them see at night.
That reddish kind of flash that you get from every nocturnal animal and stuff. Yeah.
So when I was listening to this, a lot of this got its early start on internet forums.
Okay.
You know, it's the early 2000s. You know, 4chan is rolling.
Yep.
Any internet chat forums that talked about cryptids, things like that. There's a story that I heard that this is kind of what made me want to talk about this.
Okay.
So there was a story posted on a forum describing all of this stuff.
Right.
Then this Bigfoot expert, quote unquote expert, starts interacting with these posts and things like that, because there was a group of college kids that went out to try to find the Howler. Like, this has like a story of if we were in college together that we would kind of do, hanging out, bored, nothing to do. Hey, let's go see if we can find this Howler.
It also holds the really good beginnings of a horror movie.
Oh yeah. There's reports, and then so these kids went out, and that's the news stories that this is referencing.
Yeah.
This Bigfoot expert gets on these stories and starts looking into them and things like that, and just is throwing all these things like, well, I went to the university and I talked to all these kids, and everything like that, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And like it's a bunch of baloney and all that kind of stuff. But
I love that.
But it turns out that this guy made up all of it. So there were no kids. There were like basically he wanted to deter any talk because it was swaying away from Bigfoot about his stuff.
Oh, that's a cheap
right?
move.
And it's
that's
like
dirty.
So yeah, so he was doing this to deter
quote unquote expertise in one area, so he doesn't want anybody talking about anything else.
Right,
that's nasty.
and that's what it is. And I mean, you know, it's the birth of the internet that we have today. It's like my opinion matters and only my opinion matters.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make up stuff to disprove your opinion, even though it's something that you enjoy or whatever. So yeah, I saw
people.
Yeah, people be people and people suck. So
that's awesome.
So that was the initial story that kind of got me hooked. It was a thing in the 1800s, and then it didn't pop up until the early internet days.
Yeah.
So my brain starts working. It's like, well, why would that be? Is it because people aren't industrializing certain parts of that? Like, is it the protection of the national parks? Is it inaccessible? Like, I was kind of like wondering why it would wait so long,
right,
to kind of rehash
come
all
to light
these.
in a sense, yeah.
I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. So it
probably just the advent of the internet being the
that's the thing too. Like a lot of these cryptids and a lot of these things, you know, like Bigfoot sightings and stuff dropped dramatically once we started getting better cameras and better things that, you know.
It's amazing how that happens when pictures aren't blurry anymore. All of a sudden you realize it's not Bigfoot. It was just Dad walking in the woods.
Steve? Is that you?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things too. Like this one especially kind of made it kind of more tangible for me. You know, the invention of higher quality cameras, you know, why you see so many folklores and things like that in the past is because people didn't have glasses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it makes you think, and it makes you fill in those gaps.
It's amazing what like glasses, hearing aids, better cameras, all that stuff has done for us. I mean, and nowadays it's like, you know, there's trail cams everywhere in the woods nowadays because like all the hunters and stuff and even like the state parks, they're using them to try to keep an eye on who's on trails and stuff like that. So they can know who somebody gets lost, they can track back and say, well, we saw him on this trail cam at this time. And so with all that stuff being out there now, if there was Bigfoot and Howlers and all this kind of stuff walking around, we would see that stuff showing up. But I don't, you know, at the same time, there's a part of me that wants to believe there's still a bunch of those like really weird ones out there.
That's why we're continuing to do this.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
we want there to be like. Life's getting kind of boring. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but like I want to focus on this to be like my distraction from the real world. So obviously there's a few theories, and I know we've kind of discussed a lot of the logic behind a lot of this stuff. So theory one is all a misunderstanding. People are misidentifying known animals, bobcats, cougars, wild boars, and they can make terrifying sounds, especially at night. Like, have you...
Those ones that we played with the Beast of Bladenburg when I played you the screaming of the bobcats like facing off with each other. Well, like that enough is.
Have you? Oh, what is? I think it's like the shoebill bird.
Oh yeah.
Like the sound it makes, like it is utterly terrifying.
Yep.
And again, like we were saying, if you're not familiar with that area, if you're not familiar with where
the
you're
sounds
at,
that you're hearing from the animals,
you're gonna be terrified.
Did we ever play that clip for you of the raven? I think it was that the guy has.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about
and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like tickle tickle.
Yeah, it's like
when he's like say tickle tickle and tickle tickle.
Yeah, and it's like
it's terrifying sounding. Can you imagine if
but
you're
I
out?
Want one.
Yeah, well, 100%, 100%. But could you imagine if you were sitting out in the forest at nighttime, like you're camping out, and there's a raven that's in a tree right above you, but the only thing it does is go.
Yeah,
you're like, no, sir.
Okay,
no, sir. Yeah, where is my car?
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, if you're in the Appalachian Mountains, if you hear your name at night, you didn't hear your name at night.
Yes. Like, if you hear your name or banjos at night.
Well, that's actually more the Ozarks now, but you know. Anyway, so theory 2 obviously is a cryptid or a yet unidentified species.
Right.
Maybe a prehistoric holdover like the saber-toothed cat or a dire wolf. Unlikely, but sure, it's not impossible in such a dense and rarely explored region.
Right.
I mean, there are places, you know, even in the United States that don't get a lot of traffic, don't get a lot of things, so nature is more nature in those areas.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I'm really excited, like next at the beginning of next summer, I'm going to go out to Arizona to see my brother and sister. And because my dad told my kids, when you turn 10, we're going to go out and see the Grand Canyon and all that kind of stuff.
Very cool.
So I'm excited to maybe go out and camp out there and just kind of hear different things, see different things.
That's awesome.
Like I said, prehistoric holdover, dire wolf, unlikely, but sure. But didn't like they breed or bring back a dire wolf
the only thing I know, yeah, that's right. Yeah. They did. They used DNA and mixed wolf DNA with dire wolf DNA, and so that supposedly they've brought them back. There's there's cubs of dire wolf mixes, and they're out there somewhere.
I don't know why, because they're just huge.
Oh, I kind of want to see what that
I mean, I do
into.
too. Like, I kind of want one, but like...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Can we tame them? Because if we can tame them, that might be the only way that I'm going to have another dog after my current dog is gone.
You're right.
That might be the only thing that will motivate me to it. But.
Yeah. Theory 3, and we didn't really get into this, and there's a lot of cool stuff kind of surrounding this, like with the Daniel Boone story.
Yeah.
It's supernatural in origin, so it's not necessarily a physical entity. It's like
an apparition or something along those lines.
Referred to as like a death omen, like the Black Shuck in English folklore, or a banshee of the American backwoods.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's more of a
foreboding spirit type of thing,
right? Like the Mothman, like the harbinger of doom.
Yeah,
the Mothman.
You see him before something terrible happens.
Right. That's theory 3. Theory 4, obviously the one that a lot of people subscribe to in most of these cryptids. It's just a hoax. A tall tale that got bigger with each retelling and spreading through hunting communities and campfires. I mean, it's one of those things where it's always possible.
And I was thinking, like there's a possibility out there of like we talked about with the Frogman deal, right? Is that at some point in time, this dude put on this Frogman costume, went out there and sat beside the road until that businessman came up, and he stood up, holds up the pipe or whatever, and then disappears into the swamp to just playing around with this with people, course. Right? And so then he does it later on, and it happens to be these cops that he does it to and stuff. And so this guy's, he waits all these years, and we're like, he brings it back around. It's kind of funny in that sense. And you kind of think there are people that have had a habit of going out and exploring and camping in these woods. And what if it's one dude?
Dude, that would be amazing.
That he did it for the longest time and maybe passed it on to his son.
Oh my!
And who passed it on to his son? And they're like, "This is the family tradition. If you ever tell anybody, we'll disown you," type of thing. And they're out there with like, they got like cones, and they're just like doing that kind of thing.
Well, it's like the perpetual Scooby-Doo villain.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah. That's hilarious, though.
So those are kind of the theories.
That's kind of what I hope it is.
And, I kind of talked about this at the top. Like, the Ozark Howler, you're not going to find it in Hollywood blockbusters. It's made its way into some indie horror games, cryptid podcasts, this podcast. And there is...
It's official now.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it.
Made it on our podcast.
Yeah. So... There's something that I want to get into in a later episode.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the International Association of Hoo-Hoo?
Of what?
Of Hoo-Hoo.
Hoo-Hoo?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
We'll get into it later.
I'm a little concerned about what that is, but all right.
Yeah. So the International Association of Hoo-Hoo, which is HOO-HOO. Hoo-Hoo.
It's not getting any better.
It is a real lumber industry group founded in 1892.
A lumber industry group?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I'm so confused.
And he uses a black cat with a curled tail as his mascot, and some believe it was inspired by this legend of the Ozark Howler.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the way that...
I definitely want to talk more about these guys.
The way that I've heard about it, it's weird. Like, it involves a church.
Oh, okay.
And, like...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like cult territory.
Oh.
Let's go.
Yeah. Allegedly, a church got burned down and a stained glass window. We'll talk about it in a different episode. So
maybe 2 episodes from now we need to get into that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So... yeah, it's a wild ride. It's even part of the Ozark tourism. You can find Howler themed merch, just like any other cryptid.
In that region, you're going to find stuff about it.
Oh, of course.
Same with Frogman and all that.
I think when we went to the last year that we went to Snowbird, we did the off-site river rafting.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of like Sasquatch stuff in the
Yep.
one cabin that we started at and everything like that.
That makes sense. In the Appalachian Mountains.
It's one of those things where, you know, this has been passed down obviously from legends of Daniel Boone all the way up till now.
Yeah.
And like I said, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, it's in the cryptid manual that I bought, like where essentially you lose if you hear its howl, like
Right.
you have to make a save for it.
Okay.
But if you hear it, you have like -1 to each of your stats.
Right.
And the more times you hear it, it stacks.
Okay.
So it's like one of those like psychological
That's cool.
things.
Yeah.
But, you know, it goes to like what we were talking about, like hearing it in front of you and behind you
Right.
and the side of you. Like,
And it's like being terrified in real
Exactly.
life. You start losing your faculties
yeah,
about you.
exactly.
That's
So,
awesome.
so I thought it was pretty cool. So that's kind of the Ozark Howler. That's kind of a wild ride, really, because if you think about it, like, when was the last time we mentioned early 1800s frontier explorers, Daniel Boone?
Right. And the Howlers.
I thought it was really cool that it spanned all the way back that far.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you hear, like, you know, indigenous legends, like, I mean, and I'm sure one of us will inevitably do skinwalkers because it's kind of more of a heritage thing than anything else.
Yeah, eventually we'll get to those, I'm sure.
Because, like, I have family in West Virginia and things like that, so.
No, that was a really good hole for us to dive down. Speaking of holes,
yeah,
I got some questions for you before I dive into a subject that I just went on a rabbit hole myself on. Literally in this one, so you'll see.
I love
these. Yeah. Do you happen to know, just like offhand, what the distance is from the outer crust of the Earth to the center of the Earth?
The outer crust to the core?
Yeah,
like to the start of the core?
Yeah, to like the dead middle of the Earth. How far do you think it is?
Now we got math going on.
Yeah, good luck with that.
So, are we? Do you want it in like miles? Do you want it?
Let's use freedom units of miles.
So, how tall is Mount Everest?
I have no idea.
I'm guessing about 21 miles.
Yeah. See, so okay, I thought along the same lines, right? Because it just shows how small we are in things and how big we think we are as people. From the crust of the Earth to the dead center of the Earth is 3,959 miles. Okay,
that's close.
You just a hair off. You're so close.
Samsonite. I was way off.
Now, knowing that, we're like right at 4,000 miles.
Okay, so 4,000 miles.
Let's just say 4,000.
Okay, yeah, nice round number.
Right at 4,000 miles. How far do you think we as human beings have been able to go towards the center of the Earth?
Like, okay, so are you talking like physically or like drilling? Because I know
drilling. So
I know in Russia.
Okay, you might already know a little bit about what we're talking about today. Then
yes and no. So just like I know enough to make people think I know a lot.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
With a lot of things, I know in Russia they've like dug several maybe 100 miles down. Not that far. 20 miles?
Nope.
How far?
The furthest that we have made it into the Earth. Now remember, 4,000 miles to the center. The furthest that we as human beings have made it into the Earth is 7.6 miles.
Huh?
Yeah. Think about that for a second. So you're correct. In Russia, there's been a project, the Kola super deep borehole projects have been going on since the 70s. Basically, they're named SG1, SG2, and SG3. So these are the names of these like super deep project holes that they dug. At different times, they started them. Aralsor SG1 in the Pre-Caspian Basin of West Kazakhstan was the first hole that they started digging. Right, that was done like starting in the 60s, and then they started digging SG2, which is in Krasnodar Krai. Both of those were less than 6,800 meters deep. And then they began digging SG3, which is the deepest hole that any human being has ever dug as far as straight towards the center of the Earth, right? There's longer ones. So like as I was doing some reading about this, in the Middle East, there's places where they have drilled for oil and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, but that's
they've exceeded the length of like a borehole, but that's going like sideways and stuff like that. It's
Right.
not a direct like straight down.
Yeah, it's directional
right?
drilling.
The furthest we've gone straight down towards the center of the Earth is 7.619 miles.
So to put that in perspective,
Yeah.
that's essentially a mile deeper than Challenger Deep.
Yeah. The deepest part of the ocean. So we haven't even gone more than a mile.
It's 6.8 miles is Challenger Deep.
Yeah, so we haven't even gone a mile deeper into the Earth than what the deepest trench in the ocean
With
is.
the deepest part of the deepest crack in
that
the
we
Earth
know of.
is. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's even scary. Like,
Yeah.
this is again why the ocean is absolutely terrifying.
Right. And to think about the fact that we can't even explore the depths of the ocean yet because we haven't developed enough technology that could take us down there without getting crushed, right? When we think about that, and now we think about the fact that they were boring this hole into the Earth, and it continued on all the way up until the early 90s.
Right.
So it started in the 60s, and I think it was in the 70s is when they started drilling SG3.
Mm-hmm.
It continued on right up until like the late 80s, early 90s-ish. And then basically it was shut down only because of funding. They said that we just can't continue to fund this project anymore. And so they stopped giving towards it. But they have like, there's a spot in Russia that you can go to where it used to exist. They did have like this big like tower structure that they were using. That's where like the pieces were entering in and being attached and continue drilling down and stuff.
Like you would see like on a video from like an oil rig or whatever, where they're, that it stops and then they decouple and then they spin the new one down,
put a new one on,
and then keep going down.
So that's what they were doing, and they had like all these really fancy name things. I'm not going to spend all the time going into all those, but all these fancy name drilling machines they were using to go down. And nowadays, if you go there, so like they have pictures from 2012 where the whole site is just garbage now. It's all wrecked and stuff. The building fell apart.
Right.
But there's a spot that you can go to that it's 9 inches wide is what the hole is. So it's never been big enough to send like a human being or anything down there, but it's a 9-inch wide hole. They put a metal cap on it, bolted it down, and then welded it in place.
Right.
So nobody can access this redonkulously long hole. But so some interesting things that came out of it, and this is the reason why.
No, it's an uncased hole.
What's that?
Is it a cased hole or is it an uncased hole?
You mean does it have like a liner around the edge of it? I don't know.
Like all the way down. There's not like a liner to prevent it from collapsing. So it could have collapsed back into itself.
Possibly.
However long ago, and we would have never known.
We wouldn't know because they sealed it up. Like whenever they cut off the funding for it, they sealed the hole, and nobody's like touched it.
Why did they just keep
then.
the dirt and just shovel the dirt back in?
Shovel it back in. So here's some interesting things about it, right? When they were drilling this hole, they expected that at 4.3 miles, based on what do they call it, like sonar, like seismic waves and stuff that they sent down. Based on that, they expected to hit a basaltic layer, is what they called it,
right, at
4.3 miles down. They never hit it. Nor did they ever hit a basaltic layer that they expected anywhere in the 7.6 miles that they drilled down.
Interesting.
What they figured out is that they think that some of those waves that they were sending down and stuff that was actually bouncing between layers of rocks and causing these false cavities of like a different style that they weren't expecting and stuff. And so as they dug down, they never started hitting these things that they kind of predicted, right? That were going to be there. But then they found that at 1.9, from 1.9 to 3.7 miles below the surface, there was water that was pooled in like different places going down through the Earth's crust, right? So water that was kind of like trapped there in
natural water tables.
Yeah. And they said that the water did not naturally vaporize at any depth in the borehole, which they expected that it would because of the heat of the Earth, right? So thermal heating and all that kind of stuff that comes from the Earth. I'm going to get into the reason why I'm like saying these things in just a second.
Well, like, I mean, you're not that deep. It shouldn't vaporize anyway.
They were expecting it to because I guess because of thermal heat, like the
so
geothermal
we really
heat.
Did take all the good Russian scientists from...
Now, they did say that the drilling mud that was coming up that flowed out of the hole was described as, quote-unquote, boiling with unexpected levels of hydrogen gas. And the final thing that I'm going to point out is this. They found plankton fossils at 3.7 miles below the surface.
Okay.
So part of my reason in bringing all this up is I find it very interesting that many of these things would be supportive of a worldwide flood. Having water trapped that far below the surface, if things would have shifted, having plankton found 3.7 miles below the surface, all this kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of interesting things that line up for the creationist view of the earth because of the flood and stuff like that. So anyways, I was just like, it was just an interesting thing to me because as I started diving into this, so like one day this came out of like a shower thought kind of situation in a sense for me, because I was just like, hey, I wonder like how far down have we ever gone in the earth? And so I started doing some research on it, and I found about SG1, 2, and 3. And I was just shocked that we had only been 7.6 miles below the crust of the earth when the earth is 4,000 miles to the center. And I also want to know this question of why are we not trying to get to the center of the earth?
Same reason why we stopped exploring the ocean.
Why would that be?
Because it's hollow?
I hate it here.
But because it has answers that we don't want answered.
That's probably part of it.
I mean, honestly, and that's the one thing too. It's and this is not going on a philosophical, theological rant. It's one of those things where science has pretty much backed up everything that creationists do believe.
Yeah.
It's not that we discount the theory of evolution in species. It is a theory. It's not a fact.
Right. Macroevolution is still a theory that's been unproven. Right. Microevolution, everybody agrees upon.
Right.
There's no one out there saying like that species don't change depending on their environment and all that kind of stuff. We've seen it in human history.
And they've even done like the research with carbon dating. They've put modern things in soil.
Yeah.
Dug it back up, and it said it's hundreds of years old or things like that. So
I mean, they've done carbon dating on things that we know the definitive date of when it was created, and it said that it was millions of years old. And so it's like, And
the thing is, we're never gonna know the answer until it's everything's done.
Well, that's the thing I tell a lot of Christians when they ask me questions about like creation and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, listen, do you believe that God was the reason why all things were created? And if your answer to that is yes, then we're good, right? Like, it doesn't matter to me if you believe it's an old earth or a young earth, as long as you believe that God is the origin of it, then we're good.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, it's just funny to me that like we keep finding all these things, and even science that we've had for a long time now.
Right.
That's telling us the earth is like some of these events, the worldwide flood, all this kind of stuff actually happened. And there's proof for it, and yet, we still have to kind of argue those points in a sense. So.
And it's one of those things where, there are just things that you agree to disagree.
Right.
And it's one of those things where it's not worth the oxygen that you're wasting arguing these points.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what you believe? Cool. Great. This is what I believe. Cool.
Right.
Great. We can still get along.
We can be friends.
Yeah. It's weird.
Sure.
It's a weird concept.
I mean, I have plenty of Christian brothers and sisters that don't believe the same as I do as far as the age of the earth, the origin of it, as far as like how everything came about and stuff. And I'm cool with that. Like we still rock together and stuff.
And honestly, I can't tell you which way I think, because you know what? Something I don't really think about. I don't really think I need to think about it.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, it's one of those things that it's a secondary deal, right?
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't change salvation.
Right.
And it doesn't change who God is. And so if it doesn't change those things, then it isn't a necessary thing for us to agree upon. Right. And so, yeah, you're right. Like, why spend all of our time arguing about those kinds of things?
Yeah.
But I just thought it was fascinating, like, as I was studying about this, because it was just a rabbit hole of...
Oh, yeah.
Pun intended.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Of me thinking, like, okay, how far we've made it into the earth, being completely shocked about the fact that we've only made it that far, and on top of only making it that far, that we're not trying to get further.
Right.
I'm just like... We have the technology. Can we, just for my curiosity's sake, can we please just keep digging?
Right.
Like, I just want to get further into the earth. I want to know what's deeper and deeper down in there.
And that's the thing too. We have the technology.
Right.
It's like the ocean. Like, we don't really explore the ocean anymore.
Yeah.
And there's that.
Well, everybody's so focused on stinking outer space.
Right.
And I'm like, do you realize people are so amped up about the fact that like now we've got rockets, so we can send things to outer space and bring the rockets back home and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's great. What the vast majority of people aren't realizing is just how not far into outer space we're making it.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're scratching the surface of getting out of the Earth's atmosphere. And people are like, we've gone to space. It's like
the gravitation. We've barely broken the gravitational pull of Earth. Even still, a lot of our satellites, their patterns fluctuate because they're still tied to Earth's gravity. Like we haven't made it. I mean, Voyager 1, 2, and I forget the other satellite. Those are the only ones that have gone into space.
Yes. Gone into actual outer space. And then you think about like, okay, so we've had the miraculous moon landing. Yeah, I know. Like we could be like really wild conspiracy guys. I believe that we did land on the moon, but I think that it was like a sheer miracle.
Oh, it was
the human spirit and ingenuity and all that kind of stuff all together, right?
I would say there was as much luck as skill involved in
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that.
But we can dive down that
because we haven't been able to like we can't replicate it, right? So it's like,
and that's the weird thing. Like we can't. Nobody can.
Yeah, with like technology from the 70s to now that we can't replicate it.
Right.
So again, that goes into all the conspiracy theories, all that kind of stuff. So we're not going to dive into that right now because we don't have time.
No.
But my thing is like, everybody's so focused on outer space, and I'm like, we don't even know what resources are below our feet right now.
Right. Because
we've only gone 7 out of 4,000 miles into the giant rock that we're standing on.
Right.
There could be limitless supplies of things that we could like really benefit from.
Right.
That could be right below us right now, but we're not digging for them.
And the fact that there are rivers in the ocean, because of the densities of water and salt and things like there are like actual rivers that flow in the ocean.
We should put some requirements on space travel. That before we can go any further into outer space, I want to know what's at the bottom of Challenger Deep. I want to know.
I don't.
I do. I absolutely do. And maybe I end up going. I'm never going in the ocean again.
Right.
But I'm willing to face those consequences for the knowledge.
Oh yeah.
Because again, what if there's something at the bottom of Challenger Deep
that
could benefit us?
There's ecosystems that survive without oxygen.
Yeah.
And without light.
Yep.
And they use, the thermal vents.
Yep.
And the carbon dioxide and everything. And it is a thriving ecosystem.
Yep.
With the exact opposite of what we need to survive.
That we know like very little about.
Right.
I just feel like we should put some requirements and go, okay, you guys want to go to outer space? Great.
Right.
We're wasting billions upon billions of dollars trying to get to outer space. Meanwhile, I feel like it probably wouldn't cost us that much to drill a hole.
Right.
And find out what's below us, right? Yeah. Like, let's just get into the earth a little bit deeper.
Bring me Bruce Willis, and he can dig us a hole.
It's good stuff. Anyways, let's wrap this bad boy up
before we get farther off the rails.
We're at time, and we got things to do today. So as we get ready to wrap up, I'm going to encourage everybody that's listening right now to do the simple things that you already know that we're going to say, because it's what every podcaster, YouTuber, internet sensation, everybody tells you.
Right.
Like, subscribe, comment, do all the things.
And make sure, if you have liked our page, make sure that you are following and vice versa, because for some dumb reason, those are two separate things.
Turn on the notifications, do all those things.
Check out our link tree.
Yep, that's exactly right. Josh created a link tree for us, so it's got all of our links to everything right there in one place. It makes it super simple.
Hoping by the time this episode comes out, we'll have some like little stickers, things like that.
Yeah.
So
we're working on the potential for merch stuff in the future. So if you're pumped about that, let us know in the comments so that we can start getting that stuff geared up.
Exactly.
But the stickers are coming. We would love to be able to, like, if you would be willing to put a sticker on your car, on your water bottle, so people see it when you're like rolling around, please let us know. We'd love to get one to you.
Exactly. And I'm working on having like a QR code that you can just scan, and it takes us right to our link tree and everything like that. So
that's awesome. Other than that, make sure you leave us reviews on all the podcast platforms, because your reviews really help us out. Like we always say, we're not conceited. We don't think that we deserve 5 stars.
Right.
But we're going to ask you to give us 5 stars. And even if you want to leave us a critique with that 5-star, that'd be great. But 5-star reviews help us to get recognized and stuff. And again, our goal in this is not to try to like make some big, ginormous podcast. We're having fun talking about things we want to talk
Exactly.
about. But if you share it with people, maybe we bring a little bit of laughter, a little bit of knowledge of unusual things into their life, and get to enhance their day just a little bit too.
And exactly, and like we've always said, if the following and everything kind of gets a little bit bigger, we'll look at adding more content and stuff like that too. So, all right, well, that does it for us today. So we thank you for spending your Monday or whatever day that you're listening to this with us. So we will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Oh, Alani tickles all my fancies.
This sherbet one tastes a lot like the rainbow sherbet, and I do appreciate that.